My name is George Boston Rhymes, kvci.blogspot.com, or on YouTube, Boston G.B.R. I just wanted to sit down tonight and do a little talk, mainly on economics. I'm not here to preach or deliver a sermon to you, nor to give you any particular denomination perspective. But I have before me the King James Version of the Holy Bible, which some in Christendom follow and proclaim that it is the absolute truth. There are others who believe that it has some truth in it, but mingle with changes. I'm not here for any of that discussion. I just want to talk this evening a little bit about from the book of Genesis for a few minutes, and I mainly want to talk about in perspective of how we here in Valdosta, Georgia, and perhaps other cities across this nation view our movement as Christians, Muslims, Jews, and others from the book that we say we believe in, whether it's the Holy Bible, the Holy Quran, the Torah, the Egyptian Book of the Dead, the Jerusalem Bible, or the Bible of the Indian people, or from the Vulgate, or from the Book of the Extraterrestrials. But because we live here in Valdosta, I want to talk about economics from the book of Genesis. And I want to put it where, in particular, the black African American people can kind of understand where we're coming from. In Genesis, the first chapter reads, "In the beginning, God created the heaven and the earth." Now, in Valdosta, we have a lot of churches in the black African American community as well as the Caucasian community. And the first word in the book of Genesis is in, and the I and the N is capitalized. I repeat, the I-N is capitalized. Most people look over the I-N, but I see the I-N as in your house, in your business, in your life, in your country, in your own mind, in your own church, in your own community. Yeah. In your own community. God wants you in, not outside, but in. He don't want you outside of the knowledge of self. He wants you on the inside of self, because if you don't know yourself, then you don't understand yourself. You can't appreciate yourself, and you will do destructive things that could harm yourself. So God wanted us to be on the inside. Not just in the church, mosque, or synagogue every time the door is open, but He wants you in the knowledge of the inside of what make you valuable, what make you respected, what make your children look at you in a respectable manner. So God wanted all of us in the knowledge of self, in the knowledge of Him, or in some cases, her. I'm not caught up in religion. I'm telling you, I'm trying to bring a message here. So God wants us to on the inside now, and not on the outside. In the beginning, at the start, in the beginning. First of all, male and female has something inside of them. So when they have these sexual urges, they distribute something to each other. They have something to give on the inside of each other. It may be a feeling. There is something on the in. It got to be. God wants us on the inside, because on the inside is where we will bring about the greatest change in this life that we call life. So in the beginning, now God gave us a beautiful example of how we should act and carry ourselves even in this present community of Valdosta, Georgia. Look, let's see what God did. It says, in the beginning, I just talked about us, but check this now. God created the heavens and the earth. What did God do? God created. In other words, God put himself on the inside of something outside of himself. He created the heaven and the earth. And the word created, eaten. He created. In other words, he brought something into existence that was not here before. Yeah. So he brought the heavens and the earth. Now, the heavens is the highest part of what we can reach, see, fly through, etc., or imagine. The heavens, the highest point. The earth being the lower, where things grow and where things die. Now, when we look at the human body, the brain is the heaven. What you hear right here in your head, that's the heaven. God created the heavens. The heavenly part of man is his brain. Is that why Apostle Paul said, and ye shall be transformed by the renewing of your mind? Then you would become a new creation, or a new generation of creations. Now, he created the heavens and the earth. But in man, the lower part of man, or the earthly part of man, is what they call a few inches beneath the belly button, is considered the earthly part of man, or the lower part of man. And earth generates, the earth brings about vegetables in the natural world, on the outside world, not on the inside of us, but out there. And we eat, we get stronger because we bring food into our mouths so we can begin to work, to bring something into existence that was not here before. And then we will be able to take care of the little offsprings that we produce. Yeah. The little offspring, our little babies. Yeah. I'm just going to do it once. I can't say one scripture. But anyway, I want you to travel with me now. Now look, God wants us on the inside. Now if God wants us on the inside, he wants us to begin work. He wants us to bring something into existence that were not here before, just like he did. You see, we say we want to be like Jesus, Muhammad, Moses, and others. But what are we doing? Now look, I want you to catch this as I get ready to close this out. I'm not going to be long tonight. Everybody. The Chinese came over a couple centuries ago, and they came to this country. Once they came inside of America, they started working on the railroad. Yeah. And they became prosperous. And they came in the black African American community and they set up shop. Started selling us clothes. Not to mention the cotton industry. That's another story for another day. So they set up shop and we went inside of their stores and we bought from them. We made them richer and richer and richer. So they got their beginning. And they created wealth. And they created a heavenly part of the Jews. Because they were glad to take your money in the black community. So they used it. And you became weaker and weaker. Because you wasn't on the inside of your own head, bringing something into existence for your children. And so, today, here in Valdosta, how many black service stations do we own here? How many buildings downtown have we brought into existence? We go to church. We go inside the church. We shout and we claim that we love Jesus and we got much love and many other things that we do. But look, God didn't just go to church. God created the heavens and earth. God went to work. And God didn't work for someone else. God worked for himself. God wanted to do these things because he loved us so much. And so by him loving himself, I know God had to love himself. So by him going to work, he had something to share with us. And what did he share with us? Everything that we know about. I don't think God a fool, but I don't think he give us everything. No, 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 no. So when we look around at the Indians, they come in our community. We give them our money. They take it back to their homes. They send it to India, and we are left in poverty. They set up convenience stores. How many convenience stores do we own? How many times have you heard your pastor, your imam, your rabbi come in the black community and tell you, say, you know what? Y'all got to be some really foolish people. Your children are selling drugs. They are unemployed. Going into jails and prisons. And you all haven't gotten inside of your own head to understand that just going to church and talking about prayer, and prayer is good. Because we do the same thing. I can hear the Indian people saying. I can hear Jews saying the same thing. I hear Caucasians saying the same thing. But they will say to you, but then we get up and we create businesses and we help each other. And when we see Jesus, we don't see Jesus as a black man. We see Jesus as looking like us. And therefore, when our children look and see a white Jesus, that gives them superiority, a sense of superiority. And so it gives them the image that they want, the mentality that they are the best of the best. And no inferiority exists in their mind. You, black man and woman, has allowed yourselves by being seduced into an image that does not look like you. And so you get an inferiority complex, and all you want to do, and all I want to do, and all we want to do is live for the hereafter. We want to wait until after we die. Then we go to Revelations, and we walk streets paved with gold. While the preacher and the bishops have their heaven here on earth. When I was a traditional preacher, I watched the elderly. They loved Jesus so much. They stayed in church. I'm not criticizing the church. And I can't speak for the mosque too much, although I've gone to the mosque quite a bit. I can't speak for the synagogue, although I've gone to the synagogue quite a bit. I can't speak for the Hindus, although I went a little bit in Okinawa to them, you know. But the church that I'm accustomed to, I watch people go in and they got so much power and they talk with so much dominance. They talk with so much faith and they talk as if though they could remove mountains, as if though they could go out and build a house or just conquer the world. But when they get around white folk, they scared as hell. Yeah. They lock up. They freeze up. They start itching and scratching and they just scared. What made me thought about doing this tonight is that I was over to a young lady's house who was moving, and about 8 of us were there, and this one heavyset girl, she referred to herself as fat, so I'm not saying anything that she didn't say herself. And she said, in Valdosta, I never seen so many scary Negroes. She said, they are afraid of white people. I said, oh man. I said, I've experienced that too in the circle of activism. What I do, I see it all the time. And I told them, I said, but the people in Brooks County, the blacks in Brooks County, to me, are a different set of Negroes than the Negroes in this city. Before I close this out, I'm going to ask you a question. You who sit down in your churches, whatever church you go to, does your pastor tell you to go to city council meeting? Does your pastor ask you to go to the Lowndes County Board of Commission, the City Board, School Board of Education meeting, join the NAACP, the SCLC, or anything like that, or to ask them about what's going on in the jail? We've had 30 deaths out there in the Lowndes County Jail. Does your pastor ever tell you, are they aware on current issues like the Equipment 10, or the fact that QE is trying to consolidate the school system, or who asks your children, or who is a school superintendent, or who is the principal of their high school, or who is the pastor in the community that represents the people when they get in trouble? Is it your pastor, or does do your members of your church go get somebody else? Which is the case, I know it, because they come to me. And so, but still, if you're a member of a church and your pastor, I know they got a thing now going that you should not be involved in politics, but you know you're involved in politics. You know that when you get a traffic ticket and you feel like you're right and you've been treated wrong, you call me, you call Rose, you call the SCLC, the NAACP, you call everybody, but where do your pastor fit in all this? Where do your mother and father fit in all this? Do they stand up for you? Or are they afraid to go down and fight and stand up on your behalf? It's time to wake up, y'all. It's time to wake up. God told us He wants us on the inside of the beginning. In the beginning, God created the heavens and the earth. And we need to be creating something. We need to be creating more than churches. We need to be doing more than just praying. We need to be doing more than that. That is good. Lord knows it's good. But we need to do more than that. We need to support the people in our community who will give you the truth instead of a bunch of lies. We need to support those people in our community who is trying to set up some businesses so they can employ the children who are going to school as well as their parents. Because if you doubt what I'm saying, walk through the city annex. Don't take my word for it. Walk through the city jobs in Valdosta, Georgia, and over in Equipment, and see who's in the courthouse. See who have these jobs in your community, and taxpayers is paying their salary. Go to your school boards. Go to your school administration offices and see who's employed. And when your street is being paved, see who is putting down the asphalt. See who is out there driving the heavy equipment. See if anybody from your community is, because after all, when our children walk with their pants down, if we don't have nothing to give them, they really want it, that's their bid for attention. But if you can give them a job, and that job will give them the incentive to pull their pants up simply because they got some money in their pockets, and they don't need that attention. The children want attention. Do you all remember what Dr. King said? from the time you're born, there is a bid for attention. And a lot of our young black boys and girls who got their pants down want attention. They want somebody to see them. They want to be recognized. That's all they want, a bid for attention. Some of them, they don't know where their father is. They don't know where the mother is. They know that mother is catching hell, ain't got no money, for the most part. And if you doubt what I'm saying, just Google wealth disparity between blacks, white, and Latinos. White has 20 to 1 in terms of wealth for black folk. It lets you know that we've been serving Jesus, but we haven't been serving each other. From the time that Valdosta was set up as a city, you don't question what me and Brother Robinson are questioning every day. Trying to get some of these monies, these millions and billions of dollars coming here through contracts, local, state, and federal, and we don't benefit from those dollars. So we can understand why our black children is committing crimes. When we look at the disparity of employment, and go to that new county building and walk around in the offices and look and see how many blacks is employed. I don't accept the fact that they say we're not qualified. I know damn well I'm qualified. I know I'm qualified. I put in application after application and I was not hired. Of course, maybe some of my speech kept me from getting a job too. But that's okay. But what about you? We have seen people with bachelor's degrees and master's degrees that was educators that was not employed in the local school system because they couldn't get hired and they was over the lamp trying to get some food, not food stamp, but trying to get something to help to pay their light bill. We witnessed that. But look, if you know somebody in business, or if you are in the clique among those who review those applications and know when the job is coming open or ahead of time, you get the message? And I don't let people tell me, you got to apply for the job. I know there are people who apply for these jobs. They get fingers turned down on them. Most of my siblings are educators. Most of my first cousins are educators. Some got PhDs and they can tell you a story that you don't hear every day. And the people who are in the school system who got a story to tell, they no longer trust the newspapers. I'm not talking about the Valdosta Time, this nationwide. Nobody will do their stories. There was a time when 60 Minutes used to go in and just come out and break new story. That's a thing of the past now. You don't see much of that anymore now. But don't you all remember back in the 50s and 60s and the 70s when people used to go undercover and they would expose all this corruption and all this discrimination and all this preferential treatment. They would expose and show it on TV and you get a good glimpse of what's going on, but no more. The news media not even serving our purpose anymore. We've had 30 jail deaths. I have talked to so many parents. I have talked to husbands and wives who has been mistreated when they have handcuffs on, and they come to me and you try to get the pastors where y'all go to church at and give all your money to, but nobody will say nothing. They act as if though they don't care about what Jesus said. Luke 4:18 about the poor and the widows and the orphans and those that are incarcerated. I mean, when a person's hands are when they are handcuffed, they can't help themselves. And we don't care, y'all. And yet we keep going to following the same old tradition. We say we are saved and we sanctified and we got a lot of mouth in church. And I know, because I done been there. I know what I did. I know. I used to didn't do what I do. I had been indoctrinated and incarcerated in my mind, and all I was concerned about was this book, just the same Bible. My daughter is 38, 39 years old, somewhere in that neighborhood. This Bible is older than my daughter. And this was all I was focused on right here. This all I could find anything. I read this Bible here over so many times, it's about to fall apart now. This is the Bible. I went into churches until, and they wanted me to pastor churches. But one day it came to me, what good is my Holy Ghost if I can't create businesses and employ my own people like the Germans and the Jews and the Hindu and the white folks and the Mexican, Latinos and everybody, and all I can do is just talk about Jesus and how good Jesus is, and I can't do none of these things that other people's doing. When I see injustice, I wouldn't say that. I was scared as hell, y'all. I wouldn't say nothing. And God done told me that he did not give us the spirit of fear. But I was scared. Are you scared? If you're not scared, are you a member of any civil rights organization or human rights organization or women's rights or anything trying to make it better? Or are you fighting for in your own way to build a better world and stand up against injustice in our world? If not, what good is all this? When Jesus came, what did Jesus do? When Moses came, what did Moses do? When God came, what did God do? In the beginning, God created. He bringing something into existence that wasn't here before. And the earth was without form and void. And darkness was upon the face of the deep. And the Spirit of God moved upon the face. Come on, y'all. God went to work. And God didn't just go working for just white folk, just black folk, just Jews, just Christians, just Muslims, just extraterrestrials. But he put all this up. He rolled it up in one big ball. And he slung it like James Weldon Johnson. And he slung it. And it burst, whatever it was. And so air came. And the air, he didn't make it just for black folk, white folk, Jews, Mexicans, Muslim. He made it for everybody. God didn't make an earth that would only hold black folk or Republicans or Democrats. This earth will open up to a Democrat. It will open up to an independent. It will open up to a Muslim. It will open up to a Jew. And it'll open up for you. And so will economics in our community once we open up our mind. And why do we keep going to the same churches, to the same synagogue, to the same temples, to the same mosques, and they never say nothing, nothing against the wickedness and the corruption in our world? And if they speak it in generalities, how do they seek to change it? I know. They tell you, don't mix politics and religion. Yeah. But just watch your these white TV evangelists and just take a note from what they're doing. And then look at the modern day, since Barack Obama was elected president, look at the modern day patriots and the modern day Christians. I call them reverse patriots and reverse followers of Jesus Christ. How could they criticize when God and Jesus say love? It don't take a Bible to tell you that striking out at another human being with venom is the best way to show your children that you got love. I'm going to leave it out. Just thought we'd have a little light side chat. In the old days, they used to have a fireside chat. If I've said anything that you can get 1 ounce of good out of, get it and share it with someone else. Okay? I'm only trying to do what I feel will enlighten the minds of my fellow human beings. But we all can't go to sleep at the wheel, y'all. Somebody must keep the bread.